Jackie of Soltar Solutions, and I'm here today on Focus Forward with Penny Isaac Nelson, and we are going to be talking about, are you ready for this? Work-life balance. Penny, does this really exist?
It does, Lori. It's really hard to achieve, but it does exist, for sure.
So tell me about it. How does one achieve it?
Well, you know, I think if you're a small business owner, it's really hard. And if you're a small business owner or even a leader in a nonprofit and you have a family, then it's even harder. So as a single person, before I was married, it was not that big a deal. I just kind of did what I wanted to do. But now as a family person, it really is a struggle sometimes. So you have to be really intentional. Really intentional. You have to be intentional with your time. You have to be intentional with your schedule. And you even might have to schedule your downtime, you know, time with your kids. Now we're going to have dinner. All those things. It sounds weird to put all that on a calendar and on a schedule, but you really do need to do that because it's so easy to wash over something and go, oh, I can just keep working, or oh, I can check my phone.
You know, back in the day, it wasn't that difficult. Everybody showed up at 5 o'clock for dinner, no matter what. All right, nobody was texting during dinner. My father would have broken their hand. I mean, it was just like we just didn't have all these things. Once in a while, we'd watch TV or whatever, but we didn't have all this encroaching on our time.
Yeah.
But now I feel like my dog is pulling me away from the computer. Because she wants my time. So, you know, sometimes you don't, even if you're not married and you don't have children with you, still you have those animals that need your attention.
Yep, exactly. And I think even like a small business owner, it's just critical because if all you do is work, I don't think that's good for your business. I think as an entrepreneur, you feel like, well, the more I work, the harder I work, the more successful I'll be. And I think that's true to a point, but we have to have some downtime to re-energize, and whether that looks like just going and playing, you know, adults might need play dates as well as our kids, but I think it also looks like meditation, it looks like quiet time, it looks like going out and doing something fun with your friends, maybe going out of town for a weekend. All those things I think are really important to having that balance, and I think it makes you a better business person.
Really?
I do, yeah, because you are, it takes, I think, your stress level down, and it gives you something else to focus on because it's so easy to just be thinking about work all the time, especially like you said with our technology. It's just constantly there.
So what do we do with the mountain of work that's sitting on our desk? Because there's a whole mountain of work, and it just keeps piling up. And no matter how fast I work, it still's piling up. What do I do?
So first, I think you have to acknowledge that no matter how fast you work, the work is always going to be piling up. You're never, probably, ever going to get ahead of it. So every day when you leave and you're done with work, there'll always be more for you tomorrow. So I think not struggling with that is really important. Like, I'm a person that likes to finish things, and so it's really hard for me to walk away of something unfinished and know that I won't come back to it for, you know, until the next day. But I have made myself get used to the fact that that's job security, right? You know, the work is never done. So, and that's okay. You have to get to that point. But I think the key is to delegate. You have to be able to delegate. And so whether you're in a small business or a solopreneur or even in a nonprofit, you have to figure out how to delegate tasks to somebody else. And so if you're fortunate enough to have staff, then you've got people to give your work to and some of your tasks to. But if you're not, I think it's really important to find somebody like an outside contractor, or some people call them a freelancer. There's lots of terms that people use. But there are some really quality people out there whose job it is to come into your business and just take the load off you. And so they are really key, I think, to having that work-life balance, because the biggest thing is to get work off your plate. You've got to be able to find some margin. And so to feel good about walking away, you've got to know somebody else has got it.
Wow. It's also kind of hard, I think, I hate to say this because it sounds bad, but to release the control of that, because you're not always, maybe you're not sure what you're going to get in return, or, you know, a lot of times what would happen is I'd have to redo the work anyway. So now it's put me even further behind.
Yeah. So that's maybe another topic for a show. How do
Exactly.
you find the right people? But I guess we're assuming you've got the right people. And so part of that, I think, is as the owner of the business or the executive director in a nonprofit, you have to figure out how to let some of that go and empower the people around you to take on the tasks that you've hired them for. There's training, and you'll be watching, and you'll do some of that as well. But I think if you're on 24/7 and you're just always thinking and you're the only one that can do it right, then you're going to drive yourself crazy. I think you're going to get in the way of your business growing as well.
Absolutely.
Because you just can't run at that level
Absolutely.
for, you know, week and month after month.
So now when you're talking about work-life balance and taking more time away from your business, I'm going to be honest, it sounds scary. It really sounds like, you know, that would kind of be hard to do, especially a whole weekend. And going away a whole weekend, I'd be like, ooh, what would that look like? Are there tips or ways that you could do that, kind of easing into it gently so it's not so,
Abrupt.
yes, you know, terrifying
Yeah.
for, especially, you know, as a business owner and also a consultant, I notice when people that are my clients email me, and often they're sneaking away. I know they're sneaking away from their family, and they're hiding to email me, to ask me questions, and you know, sometimes even email me or call me. They're sneaking, especially on holidays. And Sunday afternoon, it's times when, you know, probably everybody's like watching a movie and they get up and they just, you know, so I know I'm not alone.
No. I've been known to take the phone into the bathroom so my husband doesn't, you know, go, "You're still working?" You know, and I'm, like you said, I'm sure we're not the only ones that would do something like that. I think, you know, there are some really great small ways that you can start. If you picked, say, an evening, if you picked 2 evenings a week, you know, can I just work on these evenings until dinner time, and then I'm just going to, for these 2 evenings, not check my email until the next morning. And so it's not, you're not giving it up forever. You're not doing it every night of the week, but you're taking a baby step to just build in a little of that margin. I know for me, my tendency is to work and work and work and work, but I know that when I'm successful at making some room for me just to not think about work, that I come back so energized and I am more ready to go than ever before. And so I've seen the benefit and experienced the payoff from doing that. The other thing that I would say is you've got to learn to say no. You know, there are obviously bad things we don't want to do that might hurt our business, hurt our family. So those are really easy to say no to. But what's harder is to choose between what's good and what's best. Those are two really difficult because good and best, there isn't a negative in there. And so really it's judging, is this the best thing for me to say yes to? Is this the best thing for my business for me to say yes to? And sometimes it looks like cutting out some of those things that we think are good because we're waiting for what's best.
I love that concept because that's very easy for me to understand because I get calls all the time. What about this? And can we do this? And would you be interested? But in some of those things, I'm just like, you know. But thinking about keeping that time open and also the mind space, because it's not only the time, it's also really strategically coming up with the way that that's actually going to play out. So it's strategizing and also planning for these things. So if you keep that time open for the best, you're really going to excel. So that's great, great advice. I'm not sure about the two nights a week. I'll have to think about that one. But I just want to tell you, you've given me great advice, and I'm sure you've given the viewers great advice as well. Thanks so much for being on today.
Thanks, Lori. I enjoyed it.
There it is. Now we know. Work-life balance. So I really like some of the tips that Penny gave us today. And Penny's from Superior Results, and she's a project manager. So we would absolutely want to take advice from somebody who does this for a living. So thanks so much for being here today. Lori Fleckhead, Soltar Solutions. Thank you for being here on Focus Forward.